what if I told you these two items were the most overpowered weapons in all of LEGO Fortnite Odyssey? Now, if you guys didn't know, thermal detonators got a slight nerf in the recent update, and that's that when you use them against the Storm King, he no longer gets stunned, which is unfortunate because it does make the fight a little bit harder. Now, believe it or not, even though thermal detonators got nerfed, they actually became the absolute best weapon in this entire game. So make sure that you guys stay and watch until the end, because I'm going to cover exactly why these detonators are kind of glitched right now when it comes to fighting the Storm King. If you guys don't ever want to miss a glitch ever again, make sure that you guys are subscribed with notifications on, because these glitches get patched very quickly. I've been talking about this duplication glitch for the last 2 days, and that's because Epic hasn't patched it yet. And because they haven't patched it, you want to take advantage of it as much as possible. And because we're talking about Dynamite and thermal detonators today, those are going to be two items that I'm heavily focused on duplicating. If you haven't watched those videos just yet, you can go back to watch the full video, or simply craft an item on your crafting bench and then use your rift station to travel to another area, and it'll actually duplicate the item or not use any of the materials that was used to create them. Now, the exact same thing does work when it comes to thermal detonators as well. Some people reported that this isn't working for them. The thermal detonators does seem to work for myself on the Rebel workbench. All that you need is blast core and the Dora steel just sitting somewhere in one of your village chests when you guys are trying to do this glitch. I stick to about 10 to 15 of these items before I go and enter into my rift or leave my game and re-enter it in order to duplicate all of these items. Now, there's a few really crazy reasons as to why these are my two favorite weapons right now, and one of them has to do with entering the beast den. Now, they did kind of make fighting golems a little bit pointless outside of the trophy, because you used to be able to farm these in order to get a ton of rift crystals to help out when it came to building more rift stations. But they gave us a ton of rift stations after the latest update, which means that it's a little bit pointless to fight these. However, if you guys don't have your expert mode trophy, using thermal detonators and dynamite is awesome when it comes to fighting these, because you can't use any ranged attack, but you can use dynamite and thermal detonators to do a ton of damage to golems. Now, the reason why we enter a beast den on the Lost Isles is because they automatically will spawn you at least one of these golems. The other thing I like about it is you can go into these areas like where I'm at right now and farm them by standing still and throwing your thermal detonators or dynamite, which makes them very easy kills. Now, to those that haven't gotten to the Star Wars Island, the real reason why I love using dynamite is because it actually will one-hit the respawners when you guys are trying to fight the Storm King. Now, there are some cons to trying to do this, and that's that dynamite actually takes very long to explode. So something that you would have to do is almost pre-fire them in the areas that you think that the Storm King is going to put those respawners and try to use them there. But the nice thing is that if you can get them to work, it completely one-hits the respawners, meaning you don't have to waste any of your bow and arrows on them. Now, the real reason why I love to use dynamite is because if you didn't know, Destruction Tier 3 got nerfed again, and it no longer works on the weak points or on the Storm King respawners, which means you're no longer going to get lucky when it comes to fighting him and getting those one-shots to speed up your fight. You're actually going to need to sit there and use a ton of arrows on the respawners in order to break them. Or now, alternatively, you guys can simply use any type of detonator or your TNT in order to explode them and break them in one hit. Now, let's talk about our thermal detonators. If you guys saw, obviously, when you use dynamite on the enemy respawners, it one hits and breaks them, which is something that pretty much all of us already knew about. But now, when it comes to using thermal detonators, they have the exact same effect because they actually do more damage. But I want you guys to look at this clip right here. I threw my thermal detonators at the respawners as they were currently loading up, and what you noticed is that the enemies never actually respawned out of there because the thermal detonators exploded so quickly on these new respawners. If you guys didn't know, in the last update, the respawners now take damage the millisecond that they start to show. That means that you could immediately start to do damage to them, and if you throw your thermal detonators the second that you see them, it'll actually glitch out the Storm King, preventing him from actually putting any enemies on the map, and completely skips that step of having to fight any type of enemy. And before people tell me that this is an in-game feature, in order to get the Storm King to continue on to the next phase, you actually need to throw some sort of dynamite or TNT at him in order to get him to start the next phase. That's how glitchy this trick actually is, but you can kind of see the consistency in it because I threw 2 more thermal detonators, destroyed the respawners before any enemies came out, and I once again had to throw my dynamite at the Storm King in order to advance to the next phase. Now, one of the easiest parts of fighting the Storm King is actually just focusing on his actual attacks, which means that when he does his actual energy beam, running out of the way is very easy to do. When it comes to him throwing his rocks, once again, you can either run away or simply dive directly into them. And this stage of the entire fight is very easy because there's no enemies coming after you, and all you're doing is focusing on his attacks. Well, now with this thermal detonator trick, when he spawns in any type of these respawners, you can actually still focus just on his attacks and get rid of these respawners before he even starts his attacks. And when you get to the final phase of this entire fight, normally it's pretty hectic because you have the meteorites coming down, you also have him respawning enemies, and he's doing his attacks on a very small area. But now, because of thermal detonators, you can see I explode both of them before he puts down any type of enemies, and now I could sit here and just spam my crossbow directly at the Storm King for yet again a very easy kill. I didn't think that fighting the Storm King was all that hard, but we also had Destruction Tier 3 that was able to make the fights go by just a little bit easier. And now that we have zapping for our weapons and Stormbane, we have so many things that could actually make the fight a lot easier. But now being able to use thermal detonators and a duplication glitch that makes those detonators without using any material, it really has made this fight even easier than it's ever been before. So with that being said, you guys can defeat the Storm King very easily, or use thermal detonators on any enemy that's out there, fight up against anybody inside of the dungeons for some free kills, fight golems, get any type of materials that you want, or simply destroy your own village. Let me know what you guys think of this glitch, this tip, or this trick down in the comment section below. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, guys, this was Crafty, and I'm out. Peace. But YouTube thinks that you're gonna like that video that's up there in the top left, and you may also want to hit that subscribe button in the top right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.